Today on CityCast Boise, we heard rumors about a local restaurant serving an $80 baked potato, and we were intrigued. As Idaho kids who grew up on russets, we had to see what kind of magic or madness would make a spud cost that much. So we tracked it down to find out. Is it worth it? It's Thursday, October 2nd. I'm Lindsay Van Allen, and this is what Boise's talking about. Joining me today to break down this fact-finding potato adventure is our Hey Boise newsletter editor, Blake Hunter. Thanks so much for being here today, Blake.
Hey, Lindsay. I'm weirdly excited to talk about this.
Me too. I've been excited since I was at a party and a CityCast Boise listener also happened to be there and asked if I was open to ideas for an episode. And I was like, absolutely. Please, hit me with it. Let me know.
We're a daily show, please.
Yes, please. If you have ideas, I'd love to hear them. And they said that they had gone to a new restaurant in town, Hemlock, and that there was an $80 baked potato. And that stopped me in my tracks because I'm an Idaho girly. I grew up in Rigby, surrounded by potato fields, and an $80 baked potato just shook me. How could that be? So I was asking questions. They were dumbfounded. They were talking about it, like multiple people at the party came up. $80 baked potato? What is this? And so I was like, we've got to try it. We've got to find out what this is about. Our listeners need to know. And just a quick mention that I heard about this months ago, but in the interim, since I heard about it and before we tried it, Amy, a back of house manager at Hemlock, became a CityCast Boise neighbor. So I just want to mention that, but then also clarify that when Blake and I went to go try this potato, we did not go, we didn't announce who we were. We went independently. We paid for it. CityCast paid for it. We didn't tell Hemlock we were coming. We tried to be as anonymous as possible. So this wasn't anything where we had an agreement or an arrangement with Hemlock. We went as totally anonymous, hood over our head.
We wanted to know how it was. Yeah. We wanted to be able to talk about it for real.
We just wanted to try it. Yeah. So we wanted to have a totally unbiased, bring our listeners, how do we really feel about this $80 potato experience? So Blake, I'm so curious, what was your first reaction? Because I told you, I was like, there's an $80 baked potato. What was your first reaction when you heard that?
So many things run through my mind at once. I think it's mostly just it's simultaneously are you joking me? And of course there is. That is something I expect this in other cities, which if you're wondering just off the top, how possibly can this be this expensive? The name that you're looking for is caviar. That's usually the add-on at a baked potato bar that sets something over. I looked it up. There's a place called Caviar Caspia that has different locations around the country that have baked potatoes that start at $100 and with prices depending on the caviar that you get and the season that it's in can go over $1,000. This is a thing, and I think that this is just Hemlock trying to bring this to Boise, which we see this from time to time with different levels of dining experiences, but especially fine dining, trying to bring this to Boise and see what happens, which that $80 number, as soon as we walked in and saw the menu, we learned something had changed, right?
Yes. And when people told me about it, they clarified that on the menu it was $40, but like Blake said, there were add-ons, and it seemed like the add-ons could exponentially drive up the price of this potato. And yeah, I think there were truffle shavings you could get, really caviar, extravagant things. And so people were shocked because they'd seen $40 potato for two. And I do want to clarify, this is a potato for two, so it's meant to be split. But then when they got their bill, they were like, $80? What happened here? So we got to Hemlock, and I don't want to speak for you, Blake, but I was actually, it was a very upscale, fancy feeling restaurant. I didn't necessarily have any expectations going in, but I sat down and I was like, okay, if there was going to be an $80 potato in Boise, it would probably be here. I was like, it's giving that vibe. It's giving a very upscale feeling.
It was definitely finer than I expected, just with the atmosphere. It's definitely, for me, it's not always it's not my favorite. Like that kind of like fine dining experience is not always my favorite, but I think they've done a good job like making the space really beautiful. I think they spaced it out well, so that was cool. It was a good atmosphere, but I think that also it just is the other thing that when like I saw first you told me about this $80 baked potato, the thing that pops into my mind is just like, are we not in economic uncertainty right now? Like that's the other thing that of course comes to mind is just like the absurdity of that. If you are wanting like a fine dining experience in Boise, you know, we just don't have that many options here in Boise. And so I think you should go try it.
Yeah. And just to, again, set the stage of where we're at, kind of what the expectation already is in Boise, because as far as I'm aware, this is the most expensive potato in Boise. So if you go
and we've looked.
Yeah.
We searched. Yeah.
I looked at, I mean, because of course, like you have West Side Drive-In's loaded baked potato that's like $7, $7.50, something like that. But I checked a couple other places, and Ruth's Chris, a baked potato, runs you $14. Now, it's not for two people, but it seems to be that like giant baked potato loaded with all the toppings, all the fancy things that you can get on it. Brickyard has a similar setup that you can get a side baked potato for about $15. So it seems like at an upscale steakhouse location, you're running around $15 for a fancy loaded baked potato. So even if we look at the menu price, which is $40 for a baked potato for two, that still runs you $20 a person, which is a little more than your standard steakhouse potato.
Yeah. So not bad, honestly.
So part of this experience is you get personalized menus, which was fun. I wasn't expecting that. And then all of a sudden my name was at the top of the menu and I'm like, I'm maybe not as incognito as I hoped.
No, literally. We were like, okay, we've nailed this. And then we sit down and it's like, welcome Lindsay Van Allen's party. And we're like, well, okay.
Yeah. They know we're here.
Yeah.
So with this baked potato, it's not like they just bring you a baked potato. It's also ultra personalized. There's a whole cart. Like I've seen where different restaurants will have like the guacamole cart or the salad cart. This was the baked potato cart. And it's like, it very ostentatiously moves through the restaurant. Everybody's watching it as it comes out. We saw it before it was coming to our table. Yes, it's a whole event when it's coming out for people. And it's a bit of a show.
So should we set the scene of how the potato bar actually started? I feel like we should like walk people through this.
And I want to commend our potato waitress, our potato creator.
We need a name for this.
I know, the potato magician. I don't know.
Yeah.
She did an excellent job though, talking us through the whole thing. So she pulls out a very large potato.
It was something.
It was a very large potato. The only way I can describe it, or like how I came home and described it to my husband, it was a medium-sized NICU baby potato. It was a 1,200 gram NICU baby baked potato.
It was approaching football size. Yeah.
Yes.
It was. It was big. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was. I will say it was a very large potato. And she said that they handpick them. They were not like from the field, but they like specifically pick the best potatoes for this potato experience. And so, you know, she was narrating that process. She cut off the top, scooping out the insides, putting them in a bowl. So it has a twice baked potato feel. And Blake, you mentioned that it's the insides are kind of all scooped out, mixed with a bunch of ingredients, added back to the potato.
Right. Yeah.
And so we start with a cheese sauce, and there were multiple options of everything, which then kind of made it fun because every time Blake and I look at each other like, we're like, do you eat that? What do you eat? Are you cheese? More cheese? Yes, cheese? No, like. Yeah.
And I think the first thing she listed were the cheese options. And that's when you and I both kind of looked at each other and realized like, oh, we're kind of in this. Like it was really set the scene for the experience, and it really brought you and I out of our whatever we were talking about at the time. I don't know. I don't want to remember. But yeah, immediately it was like Gruyere. There was like some sort of cheddar-y thing, and then a blend of the two. And I just remember her saying that the Gruyere was like the staff favorite, and we were just like, okay, let's go with that, and then move on to our next option.
Yes. Oh, I think one of the sauces was their macaroni and cheese sauce. So
that's right.
You can potentially get. So I was like, oh, that's quite extravagant on a baked potato. And then we moved on to, we had options of different, like there was bacon bits, but there was also steak. And I think we went most meat because we're like, okay, we want to get the full experience. Like, how much, if we get all of this, how much does it cost? Do these add-ons cost more? Because that's what we'd heard. So we got like steak ends and then this really fancy bacon. She explained why it was fancy and I can't remember, but it was delicious. So it tasted fancy.
It was, yeah.
And then there were oils. And so there was a lobster oil, a truffle oil, and I just believe clarified butter, or
there was like a garlic butter. Yeah.
And so,
which meanwhile, like this is like a noisy restaurant. So she's like listing all of these things and we're just like looking at each other, looking back at her. Like, I think she could tell we were like a little petrified.
We were, it was again, a team building exercise where I'm like, how do you feel about lobster oil? I don't know how many people feel about lobster oil, but I definitely didn't know how Blake felt about lobster oil or truffle oil.
Which we passed on, by the way. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. We went truffle oil and garlic butter. And then there were also options for chives, which yes, all the chives, please, and onions, and then more shredded cheese on top. And then she was like, I'll be flame broiling this. And we were like, okay, like light it on fire. That's fun. Like, we're here for the
I feel
spectacle.
like that's like $10 of the $40 experience, honestly, is like, restaurants love to be like, we'll set something on fire in front of you if you'll pay us. And that was totally the vibe. So yeah, this was pretty much like, as soon as she started scooping it out, I told you, I was like, so this is like a twice baked potato, right? Like that was totally the vibe. Because then she just like, we, did all the mix-ins. She puts it back in like the baked potato like shell of the skin, and then she just piles cheese on top of it, and then just basically kind of like melts / broils the cheese just a little bit.
And I believe that was a cheddar cheese, because that was the moment where I was like, okay, this Idaho girl, this is a cheddar cheese moment on a baked potato. This is getting more familiar for me now.
We see the Midwestern influence. Yes, we do. Yeah.
Yep. We're getting chives now. Yes. Okay. I can see this. And then there were fancy potato chips that it was like made in house with beef tallow, and we could add it. And I was like, hey, like,
we're doing maximalism. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. The most extravagant things, let's add them. That's why we're here, is this full experience. And I was a little nervous about that, honestly, at first. I was like, on top of the cheese, I'm not sure. But actually, I did actually like that. And then they added
that was kind of my favorite part. Yeah.
It was good.
Yeah.
That was a good addition.
Yeah.
And then we could also get some sour cream, and there was some salt that we could get added. Then we have this giant baked potato in front of us.
Yeah. Which, I just want to say, I was like, she like got the sour cream out and I was like, where's the sour cream going to go? Literally just on the plate next to the potato. Like I almost laughed out loud, but she just like slapped it down next to the potato on the plate and then put salt and pepper on the sour cream. And I was just like, who made this order of operations? I didn't understand that part, but I don't know. There were multiple other like flavor things that we had some takes on.
Yeah. So we've got the baked potato now. I think we have described the process of getting that baked potato. We had it cut in half. We took many pictures because, Instagram eats before we do, and we had to document this experience. And so then, Blake, what did you think of the $40 baked potato for two?
It tasted like all of those ingredients that we just mentioned. That was pretty much both of our immediate take, which was just like, yeah, this tastes like a baked potato with all of those mix-ins. I will say I expected I love a salt crusted baked potato. There was none of that going on here. And in fact, we both kind of agreed it was a little under-seasoned overall.
I needed more salt. I was getting
which I did not
sauce.
Expect that. I did not expect that. Yeah.
No, I was getting because as an Idaho girly, I'm like, that's the salt. That's like a major baked potato flavor. That is everything tasted delicious, but I needed salt. So I needed it mixed in or more on the steak. When you got a bite with bacon, it all really, I was like, oh yes, it's all blooming, it's all coming together. So that was my only thing that I wanted more of, is I was like, I really want salt with this experience. But otherwise, yes, the cheese sauce was delicious. It The chips actually really elevated the dish in a way I was not expecting. I was like, okay, it's giving, here's some chips, here's just, another way. But the texture, the taste, I really enjoyed the chips. Maybe one of my favorite mix-ins, oddly
Yeah.
enough.
I think because whenever you have just that large of a quantity of like mashed food, like mush, you have to have some texture in there. So I think that the potato chips, putting potatoes on a potato, just like putting potato chips on a sandwich, like really elevated it, which is kind of ridiculous, but like that is what did it for me. And I think that like what I told a friend afterward, I was just like, that was the most baked potato I've ever had.
It
Which
really was.
if we're paying that, I that's what I expect, honestly. And I think that like if I was just like super fixated on a baked potato and I was just like having dreams about wanting to eat one, I would go eat that. I like it would be good. And we should say we didn't finish it. Like
No.
it was that big. Like we did not finish it. And we didn't eat anything else.
No, it felt very hearty. Like with the steak, with the bacon, I think a lot of times when I think of a baked potato, it is a side. It's not like its own thing. I'm not like, I'm just only eating a baked potato. I would eat this as a main dish. Like, because there was a healthy amount of meat in it. It was very hearty. Like it was a baked potato that ate like a meal. Then the big moment came where we got the check. And this is where I was like, okay, how much were all these add-ins? Like,
Which, like, again, we're not paying for this. So we're just like, ooh, I hope it's like, I just want to see.
Yeah. What is this extravagant cost that we've been told about? What is it? Because we got the steak. How much can this possibly be? We got the check. It stayed $40. I was shocked. I turned to Blake and I was like, wait, what? I thought the mix-ins, what happened to the $80 baked potato?
Yeah. We don't know. And I think that the only thing that we can assume is that like they were a very new restaurant, which I don't know if we even mentioned this, but they're at the bottom, like the ground floor of the Inn at 500. I assume that they just like got feedback that it was like too much or that people were surprised by the add-ons, but that is complete conjecture. And I was honestly surprised. Like I was like, honestly, $40 for that, for genuinely a meal for two people. I would probably want like a side salad or something. I don't know, something else to go with it. But like, honestly, I'm not terribly mad at that.
No, I like as once we got that check, I turned to Blake and I'm like, the episode has completely changed. Like
I know.
This is, I guess, $40 for a baked potato with steak for two. Like you said, like I'd want some bread. I'd probably want a salad, but that I've paid more for less.
Totally.
And been less satisfied and enjoyed my meal less. And we got a show and it was a team building exercise. Yeah. I was like, I don't know, for $40. And I say this as, again, somebody who like, I know my ancestors are rolling over in their graves. You just paid $40 for a baked potato.
I know.
But
the potato has helped people, like multiple peoples, survive famines. You know what I mean? Like, and the potato is like one of the cornerstones of Idaho's economy. And we paid $40 for it, but I honestly am not terribly upset about it.
Well, Blake, do you think that Boise is ready for the $40 baked potato for two? Do you think that's something that will thrive in Boise? That's something that Boise is ready to embrace and is embracing? And so what does that mean about Boise?
Boise does love a little bit of a gimmick with its food. And I think that making that gimmick happen with a potato is just a clever marketing idea. I would have to go try more of their other food just to see if I think that like the Hemlock will stay around, because, you know, fine dining is fine dining. And sometimes we just have a smaller market for that in Boise than a lot of other places. And this, at the end of the day, like, even though we're kind of saying maybe it's worth it, it is still the most expensive potato in Idaho that we know of. I mean, I'd be curious to like, I need to like search around like the menus in like Sun Valley and like Coeur d'Alene or other like Teton Valley, maybe something like that. Maybe there's a more expensive potato out there that we haven't found yet. But I think that for right now, I don't know. I think that like the current economic state of like this year so far, I think that this is still kind of a hard sell. But like we said, it's a bit of a better sell than you might expect.
Well, Blake, thank you so much. I had a really fun time getting to experience this $40 potato, potentially the most expensive potato in Idaho, with you. And it was a really unexpected journey, and we didn't end up where we planned. So thank you so much for embarking on this adventure with me.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, what great team building. Doesn't get better than that. Thank you.
That's all for today here on CityCast Boise. If you enjoyed the episode, that's a great reason to become a CityCast Boise neighbor. For $10 a month, you'll get great perks like ad-free listening and invites to exclusive members-only events. Join at membership.citycast.fm. We'll be back tomorrow morning with our Friday news roundup. Catch you then.